Only God created us in an instant.
It takes 120 days for your body to completely turn over.
We didn't get unhealthy overnight, and we're not going to get healthy overnight as well.
You can create that balanced meal of protein and carbs, and you can do it for $4.
The damage you're doing is just not worth it.
Your muscles aren't built in the gym. Your muscles are built when you're sleeping.
Sleep is going to be our foundation.
Everything happens in your sleep. Sleep is the foundation of health.
It's being proactive instead of reactive.
I notice, I'm like, oh my gosh, my sciatic pain is gone.
We cannot ignore sleep, food, movement, muscle.
And one of the things I suffered with for years was sciatic pain.
Do you take the Restore at a certain time every day, or do you take it whenever you're about to go to sleep?
I would get that shooting pain down my leg all the time. It was miserable.
What is all this brown stuff?
Well, I mean, I do sweet potatoes a lot. I drive like 40,000+ miles a year in my truck.
That God only knows what's in it, and it's all for good. You need pharmacies. My dad's a pharmacist. You need pharmacies, you need medication.
Exactly.
At a time, there's a time and a place, but I would like to not need a whole lot of medication. Hi, everyone. It's Dr. Aimee. Welcome back to the Small Spot Podcast and the Powerhouse Peptide Method. Today's conversation is one that might challenge the way you think about your health, because the truth is most people are chasing quick fixes, and the body's just not designed to work that way. We live in a culture of instant gratification, fast food, fast solutions, all the things. And when we ignore that, we end up inflamed, anxious, and even more disconnected with our bodies. So we want to break that cycle. We're going to discuss that today. And joining me today is someone who brings a unique perspective into the health and wellness space. He spent over a decade in the automotive reconstruction industry and has a background in IT and multimedia design, but he's also been researching peptides for over 10 years. So what really stands out is that a few years ago, we did a deep dive into inflammation, gut health, and restoring our bodies and giving us back our function. So today we want to welcome Mark Nichols from Mandeville, Madisonville area. And then we will be discussing all the things. I made some notes because I have so much information I want to discuss with him. And we are probably going to go off on rails, but that's okay. We'll be okay. So thank you so much for coming. I'm excited.
Thank you so much for having me. It's super excited. I'm just super excited to be here, and I can't wait to dive in.
Yes, we're going to pick all the brain, all the stuff that's in that brain.
Yes.
So I'm going to start with some notes, like I said, because I don't want to miss anything. But let's start with this thing. You and I talked about this instant gratification, of the world, how we all are in this, we all want instant gratification. We all want it to be done really fast. And I feel like the things I was thinking about, there were issues like our social media actually affects our dopamine cycles because it's 100%, so much, right? And so I was kind of laughing because I've said this before in another podcast that, everyone needs what I call the Munger Happy Meal morning peptides.
Yeah.
The focus, then the energize, and like it just brings your, it levels off your dopamine and your serotonin. So we can at least start our day that way, because we can start our day picking up our phone, which we shouldn't. I know. I just read that you should not even use your phone as your alarm.
Oops.
I know we all do, right? It's just so easy. But it ends up being that you look at your phone first. And so that's the first thing you go to. That's the first thing you start. And then you see the stuff on your screen, and then you just start, even though you're not supposed to do that. So, that social media dopamine cycle disruption is definitely a big thing. And then, of course, we all know the fast food, the fast fixes, the quick medication. We're totally in a sickness model. I've talked about that a few times too, and you and I will address that. But people are just wanting this overnight transformation. This new GLP-1 comes out and everybody thinks, oh, look, I can take this one thing and I'm just going to, it's going to be great. And yes, it has its place and it has some good points, but it's not the end all be all. So this loss of patience, I hate to say that I've always said, gosh, that's just the virtue I did not get from God was patience. But then he tries me when I say that. So I'm like, don't say it. Amy, don't say it. Don't have the P word. But we have to have that with our body. I feel like our body just has to heal naturally and have a healing process that we have to respect. And we tend to not in this day and age where things are just moving so fast. So I know that was one that you really wanted to talk about. But what has been done to people, I read, it's not physical. So it's not just physical, the things that we're doing, it's also mental and emotional that we've.
Yes, very much. When your body's under that constant stress of inflammation, it really disrupts so much of our body's processes that people really just don't understand how it's all connected. The mental health is connected to your gut. It's all connected. And when you can bring that inflammation down and you can really calm that central nervous system, you can restore sleep and stuff like that. You can really start bringing your health back to a place where you're more clear-minded, you're feeling better, you have more energy, and you just recover better. And I think that's the key that a lot of people miss out on is how important it is to really get that balance.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't know. I mean, I have a medical background and also a passion and a excitement to learn those kind of things. And you do too, even with a IT and a car background,
yes.
Mechanical background. It's something that has to kind of ignite in you. But not everybody has that. And it's really hard to convert them from what they hear on the news, what they hear from their medical physician, like their doctors. A lot of people, I hate to say it, we end up being kind of like sheep because it's easier. We just want to like follow the norm.
Yep.
And the norm is not good a lot of times. So you really have to be really proactive for yourself, I think, and for your own health. Be proactive and not just wait for something bad to happen and then decide that you want to fix it with a medication.
Exactly.
Because that's not really fixing our inflammation. It's making it worse, right?
I think people, 100%, and I think people really, they don't get there because of let's go to the doctor, let's get a medicine for this, let's get prescribed to this. And so people, I don't think, really dive into that other side of maintaining their health and taking the step. For me, I was at a point where I was just so burned out, so exhausted. I was waking up with zero energy, no matter how long I slept. And I was constantly, my wrist, my back, I was in so much pain. And I tried so many different things and found nothing that worked. And so I said, well, what else can I do? And that's when I started diving into the health and wellness and really looking at the foods I was eating. It is all these, things people talk about, our seed oils, our, the dyes and all this stuff that people make a big deal about. Like, does it really matter? And I'm going to tell you from my personal experience, like once I started taking all that stuff out and really focusing on whole foods, everything started changing. I mean, it really did. And, I started realizing that I was waking up feeling a little bit better. I was not in quite as much pain every day. And so I think when we can really, again, pull that inflammation out through our diet, it can start really making a difference in your overall health.
Yeah. And I think this is what they say. I said they say, like the things that I hear. Well, eating healthy is expensive and eating healthy is hard, right? And so we have to combat that. Like, I'm sure going through the McDonald's and getting the $1 to even have that anymore. I haven't been to McDonald's in a gazillion years, probably.
You and me both. Yeah.
Since I was like,
I can't eat that. That's not food.
But that's easier and faster, but the damage you're doing is just not worth it. It's like, gosh, we could just get that through their head that, it's not worth it. It's hurting us on all different levels. They're like, oh, well, I'm skinny, so I don't need to worry about it. Or, oh, I feel fine. We don't know that you don't feel good until you start feeling good,
Exactly.
So there's all those things that people are going to try to, say that what we're trying to tell people to just at least look into, at least have an open mind about it is my thing. Like, I just give you the information.
Yep.
And that's what this podcast is actually about. Like, a lot of information, but just give you the information and then take it and just try to, digest it in small pieces. Because sometimes, like the information you have, for 10 years, you've studied peptides and health and wellness and your body and inflammation. So we can spew all this in a, kind of 30, 45 an hour podcast. But it's something that we just want people to have like a little bit of a something in the back of their mind so that they can go back and when they start to feel an ache or a pain or different things that we talk about, then maybe just think about, oh, it's not, I can maybe fix the root cause and now go find somebody to give me a medication to combat the root cause is still there.
Yes.
The problem's still there.
One of the biggest misconceptions that I think people have in health is what you just said. Oh, healthy eating, it's too expensive. And I love hearing that because the same people who think that, literally they go spend $10, $15 out somewhere to grab a lunch. And it's, maybe quicker, it's convenient. But one of the things that I've realized, and I am not a meal prep guy. I do not like doing meal prep. Call it annoying. It's time consuming. But what it does do is you can make an entire meal and it doesn't have to be chicken. It can be ground beef. It can be steak. But if you actually take the time and do meal prep, you can create an actual balanced meal with a vegetable, with a starch, or I'm sorry, not a starch, but like I do sweet potatoes a lot, so I guess kind of a starch, but you can create that balanced meal of protein and carbs, and you can do it for $4, $6, a meal. And so expensive? Not really. I think people just don't understand how they can cut those costs and where.
Yeah.
And so I think meal prep is one of them.
That's a really good one. Now you say that, like that's totally bringing a whole other thing into my mind because Spencer, my son, my oldest, who just got married this past Saturday. Well, when you see this podcast, it'll have been a week, but he's on a honeymoon right now. I don't know how he's going to do it because he is a food prep freak, and he wants his own food. He's gotten really, and he was not like this as a kid, and he was, this was not his thing, but he has gotten so good at it.
Yeah.
And I think we might have to do another podcast. I might have to take him into the kitchen and show how easy it is because you're right. I see him do it, and I don't even do it as much.
It's become so convenient for me.
I think once you get in the habit, right?
And that's exactly.
You just have to get in the habit of doing it. Get the stuff prepared. Like, I can go buy this much chicken at this place and this much meat and all the things you love. You don't have to make yourself eat plain chicken.
Yep.
It can still be good.
Yeah, put a little sauce on it. Just make sure the sauce isn't full of high fructose corn syrup and seed oils. Like you can find sauces and you can find seasonings that aren't full of toxic chemicals. Flavor your stuff. Is it going to add some calories? Sure. Is it going to slow down the weight loss portion of whatever you're trying to do? Yeah, probably a little bit. But, would you rather be eating food that you can actually eat and you're not like, oh, this is miserable, something that's actually, it kind of makes it sustainable, because if you're eating food that you're just like, oh, this is gross, you're not going to be able to stick to it.
That's exactly right.
So add a tablespoon or two of sauce, make it taste good. And make it so you're more sustainable, so you actually enjoy the meals you're eating every day. And it becomes less about having to get something quick, and it's something that's there, it's convenient, and it's good for you.
Yeah.
I
do think baby steps in a way, just add the good chicken and then do the other stuff you want, the sauce. And then try to take the sauce off it, or make a sauce with a rice flour, not a flour. So there's a lot of different ways. Exactly. That could be you could just write a whole cookbook or a whole list of ingredient list for us. But
that's a good idea.
Okay. I think you should do this and put that out there. We'll promote it. We'll put it out here.
Okay.
Put the list together for people. Because we talked about, people want instant gratification. They want an easy button.
Yeah.
They want the easy button. So you have to give them the easy button. If we really want this to stick, we're sitting out here, we're saying this, and this is great. I love the conversation. I think that we're going to get, some people are going to hear it, but also they're going to be like, where do I start? Are they going to, okay, what list is that? What food should I eat? People don't even know that there's those things out there.
Yeah.
Nobody's heard it before. You don't know if your parents haven't done it, what foods to not eat. So that's going off on a tangent, but we may come back to that on a different podcast.
For sure.
List out all the things. Maybe while Spencer's cooking, you can be there telling them what to eat,
Absolutely.
What to put in it, what not to put in it. So let's move to this other one, though, because this is right along the thing. The reality of healing takes time. So along with this thing, just like the taking time to do the food prepping, the healing process of, once we know, and we're all inflamed. We didn't get unhealthy overnight, and we're not going to get healthy overnight as well. It's going to take a process and a time, like we talked about with the peptides that we take. Everything is, at least 90 days for a 72-day turnover. It takes time for our body to do what it did. Only God created us in an instant. Everything else,
takes time.
He takes time and wants us to work.
Well, it takes our blood vessels. It takes 120 days for your body to completely turn over. 120 days to completely turn over everything.
All new blood.
And so, that's why I tell people with any type of supplement, anything you're taking, anything you're doing, even food, even exercise, give yourself a solid 120 days to really feel the effects of what's happening. Because once you hit that 120 days, that's when you're going to start seeing the most results, you're going to start feeling, just getting that good feeling back.
Yeah. So it's good. So you pushed it to 120 because, we all preach 90 days, but
I mostly preach 90 days, but I also let people know the magic really happens at 120 days. Yeah.
Nice to know. Yeah. I wish I would have kept better documentation of when I really felt great.
Yeah, me too.
Because it's kind of but it is such a gradual thing. Like we talked, gradually, it's changing gradually until you finally wow, I'm sleeping better. Wow, I feel better when I wake up. My God, I don't have a swollen gut or, feel bad that way.
Well, I drive 40,000+ miles a year in my truck. I travel a lot for my job. And one of the things I suffered with for years was sciatic pain. I would get that shooting pain down my leg all the time. It was miserable. I'd wake up in the morning, get out of bed. I'd stumble my first couple steps, and I have no idea when, but sometime in the last year, I noticed, I'm like, oh my gosh, my sciatic pain is gone.
Gone. You don't have it.
And I can contribute it to the, to the BPPs, or I can contribute it to eating healthy and exercising and taking care of my body, but it's all pushing into that health and wellness, making better choices for my health.
Yeah.
And,
it is great that it's all, yes, it's kind of like we wish we'd have known like when it was so we could exactly say which thing, but it wasn't just one thing.
Yeah.
It's the combination of
100%.
things that's doing it. It's not just the one like, oh, I took this one pill and it made it better.
Yep.
No, not the thing. We want to talk about that foundation. Like we said, it's just, we didn't get unhealthy overnight and we're not going to get healthy, but there is a foundation of things like we're kind of started talking about already. We cannot ignore sleep, food, movement, muscle. Movement and muscle kind of can go together if you ask me, but not really. And I'll kind of say why I feel like that or could be two different things. But if somebody's struggling with mental or physical anything, disruptions in any kind of way, those three things, four, if you want to say muscle, movement and muscle are separate, those four things to me are the foundation of where you should start.
100%.
Address those three. Poor sleep, processing food, no movement, no like resistance with your body movements to get those muscles moving. Absolutely. Then we're end up in those problems. So you like talking about these. So let's talk about those.
Sleep to me, people say sleep is a pillar of health. And I actually want to change that because I truly, truly believe sleep is the foundation of health. Everything happens in your sleep. Your muscles aren't built in the gym. Your muscles are built when you're sleeping, period. Your mental health, if you're not getting enough REM sleep is where all of your mental cleaning is done. Your brain is cleaned and exactly the lymphatic system is cleaning during those sleep cycles and getting all those sticky proteins and all the waste products from just thinking and functioning all day out of your body. And then same with deep. Your deep sleep is in charge of your actual healing. Crazy fact, your gut actually turns over its lining every 3 to 5 days. Okay? And so if you're not eating enough, you're not sleeping enough, your gut is not getting enough nutrients and it's not able to turn itself over. And what happens is it actually turns into what's called leaky gut. I'm sure you've heard of that before, right?
Leaky gut. Most people hope.
A lot of people have it, especially with our diet nowadays of all the processed foods. It creates inflammation in the gut, which doesn't allow it to do its thing. And when we have leaky gut, it leads to metabolic issues. It leads to autoimmune issues, brain to gut function issues, and all sorts of problems. And so sleep is really where all the healing happens and all the magic really to our emotional system and just prepare. And so sleep is like hands down, we were talking about it earlier, the phones. One of the things that I've changed that has made a massive difference in my sleep is my phone. I am a doom scroller and I've gotten so much better at it, but I stopped. I'm like, all right, Mark, no phone like past 7 o'clock. Okay, 7, I say 8 o'clock at the latest, but 7 o'clock, I try to shut it off because that stimulation of the blue light, of the doom scrolling, the dopamine, all that stuff, it stimulates your central nervous system. You want your central nervous system to come down before you go to bed.
Yeah.
So really, I tell people, work on unplugging, as boring as it might be, read a book. What we like to do with the family, we all curl up in bed and we play Uno.
Oh, cute.
And so we
played Uno in a few years.
I know. I'm telling you, we got back from the Orlando trip, and I bought the Disney Orlando cards for my girls. I mean, the Disney Uno cards for my girls. And so we play it probably 4 out of 5 nights a week. We try to play, a couple hands at night. And so just bringing that nervous, really relaxing and getting out of the stimulation, it just makes a difference. And I'll tell you, I struggled with REM. I couldn't get 20, 30, 40 minutes of REM. I mean, I was lucky if I got 40 minutes of REM a night. And even with taking some of the peptides to help, I still couldn't get past 40. And once I started protecting my sleep and removing some of those external stimulation type, factors, I'm getting like last night I got an hour and 45 REM last night. Yeah.
So jealous.
I don't ever, and so it's, since I've changed some of this stuff, it's made such a massive difference. So
inflammation,
sleep, man, I'm telling you, it is where it starts, and then I think the next biggest thing is really, it's the inflammation.
Yeah.
When you can remove the inflammation and protect sleep, that's where Yeah, I think that's...
We used to say one that somebody could start it. They're like, this is so overwhelming. Where should I start? Sleep.
Yes.
For sure.
Sleep, and then inflammation is a close second.
And then we'll do second.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of
Definitely a close second. And then, there's things you can, obviously take to help. You can do things like turmeric. There's, peptides that can help with it as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell people, really, a lot of it starts with your diet. It really does. There's so many things we don't realize that stress our systems, that, even just excess stress from work, creates oxidative stress on the cells. And, inflammation just makes it so the cells can't communicate. If the cells can't communicate, they can't regulate our body. They can't regulate hormones properly. And you just get so much dysregulation when you're full of chronic inflammation. And so...
A lot of times I didn't think of stress in a way that I realized my cortisol was just out of the roof. And I have a stressful job. To me, it wasn't that, it was stressful, but it wasn't like, that. But it's just mentally, I was thinking constantly when I was doing dentistry, it's physically stressful on your body. It's hurting. So I was doing some triathlons and I was like, this was so great. Like I would get on my bike and I would just ride and then I would get off and run. I'd have to swim in the morning. Did not like jumping in cold water.
Been there, done that.
Totally busted up my cortisol because I'd be like, I'm going to drown. But I thought I was doing a good job of like de-stressing. And actually my body thought I was running from a tiger. So the stress continued and actually escalated where mentally I thought I was mentally I felt better because mentally I was like, okay, got rid of the day. Like I moved to like, let's do this exercise. This is good. So there are times and things that we think we are doing good that we're actually harming ourselves too. So I still think it's good to kind of sit back and say, like, if you're still struggling, where is your sleep?
Right.
Oh, people tell me I sleep good. I usually say I can probably venture to tell you that you don't. That you might sleep good, but you may not be getting restorative sleep. Like, let's talk about these things, and you tell me these things, and I can probably pinpoint. Because it was the same way. I was like, I sleep great. I sleep great. I wake up snoozing and pissy and like, I don't know.
That used to be me. I used to wake up and you can ask my wife. I'd be like, baby, do not talk to me until I've had my coffee. Leave me alone. No questions, no nothing. Like,
so it's because we're all clogged, right? Like we're not filtering. So until I started taking the Restore peptide, did I really realize like, oh man, I wake up really good. So I don't call it my sleep peptide. I call it my wake up focus peptide, really. That focus again in the morning. Like I'm like ready to go. Yeah. My only problem is I need to do better at, like closing it down at night because I've just been so used to working all day and then I would work my second jobs and do things at night. So then my sleep cycle is gotten out of, my circadian rhythm.
Yeah, circadian rhythm, yep.
Circadian rhythm and the cycle of not going to bed early enough. So when you say that you turn your phone off, I want to go back to that because this is good. You take your phone off at 7. You play Uno with the kids until like what time? And then what time?
Between 7:30 we usually play, and then usually about 8 o'clock we're laying in bed. Sometimes we might throw on like a funny TV show, but like it has to be funny, it has to be light, and that's not very often, but just every now and then if we're still not tired. But we try to just wind down, and then between 8 and 9 o'clock. Sometimes Uno doesn't start till 8, so it's somewhere between 7 and 8. Kids, they don't always let you, do everything on a time frame. But, bed's usually between 8 and 9. I'm pretty strict about that because I'm up at 5 o'clock every single day. It doesn't matter if I go to bed at 1, I'm up at 5.
Really? So you just automatically wake up?
Brain is just bam. It's just there. I don't even have to set an alarm. It's just used to that, and that's what it does. So, yeah, and I find... The one thing I do love about the sleep peptide is that if I do go to bed late, I still notice that I get good restorative sleep. I still get more deep and more REM, more sleep cycles than I would. And one of the things I don't think people realize is the importance of actual sleep cycles. Because like you said earlier, that lymphatic system, that's what cleans the brain really good. And I've actually noticed a pretty decent increase in that. And so that's, I think, one of the factors that's really helped me wake up and what helps us wake up feeling more refreshed, more clearer minded, that brain fog's gone and just kind of ready to tackle the day.
So when I do this, and so I'd like to know what you do. Do you, when you're asleep, you're more strict than I am with your sleep. You also have young kids. I'm like free for all at my house these days. Do you take the Restore at a certain time every day, or do you take it whenever you're about to go to sleep, no matter what time that is?
So I usually take my Calm
Okay.
In the evening. Sometimes
Hot water, or do you just shoot
I
it?
don't. I have done it in the hot water. I do like it like that.
I like it.
It is good. I do like it.
Shoots it.
I do too. I usually just put it under my tongue and I like just let it sit there as long as I can. My problem is it tastes so darn good that I find myself like, trying to keep it in there, but I just want to it's so good.
You looked at it when you did that, though? I did it one time, and I put it in my mouth. You know, I'm a dentist, and I'm also a girl, so I don't know how I ended up in the mirror. And I was like, "What is all this brown stuff?"
Oh, is it brown? I've never noticed it. That's funny.
Okay, look in the mirror.
Okay.
Put chlorine in your mouth. Don't do that.
I'm probably never gonna want it. I know.
No, it's not bad. I mean, I don't think it's staining our teeth. I kind of thought that, though. I'm like, is this staining people's teeth? It's on there for like a second. And most people brush their teeth after they use it anyway.
Yeah. See, I do too.
But it was kind of funny. I was like, what is this brown stuff?
Yeah.
It's so good. I'd say just use
I just think it's purple because the package is purple, you know? But yeah, so I take that and I usually, man, it depends. If I'm getting off work and I'm feeling a little stressed, I'll take it on my ride home.
Okay.
If I get home and I'm not feeling particularly like it wasn't a long, stressful day, I'll probably take it between 6, 7 o'clock.
Did you do a restore?
No, this is the calm.
Okay.
And then before bed, I will take my restored pretty much like right before I go to bed. Some people like to take it 30. Some people like to take it an hour. I know my buddy Ben, he actually takes it 2 hours before bed.
Okay.
You know,
not a sedative, so you don't really notice it.
Exactly. It's not an.
It's just calming your nervous system.
Exactly.
So it's probably a good idea to take it earlier.
Some people. So of course, when you're first taking something like that, it is lowering your cortisol levels. So your body will take a little bit to get used to it. It might bring your. It might.
Is that 120 days we talked about?
Exactly. You know, it might. Your body might be like, whoa, my cortisol level's too low, and so it might shoot it back up, and so it can take a little bit, you know, for your body to equalize it. But I can tell you, after being on it for, what did it come out in November? Was it
Dallas? We got it in Dallas.
So September.
September. Yes.
I guess we've been on it for a good 6 months at this point. So, I mean, my sleep is just next level. I haven't slept like this in, I don't know, a decade, more than a decade.
So many people are getting such good sleep out of it. It's pretty cool. But I just was saying that because you know, my life has been kind of crazy with this wedding and this change in jobs, retiring, doing new jobs. And so my sleep cycle was already, I told you, already bad. Like I already went to bed late.
Yeah.
Already. And so if I go to bed early, I take it. And I go to bed late, I take it. I still feel the same. Like I still feel like now I haven't done enough, like I had enough time to sit with my ring and like, okay, obviously if it's less time in the bed, I'm going to have shorter cycles.
Right.
But I still feel the same whether I get more sleep or less sleep. I still wake up refreshed, which is nice because I was thinking that was not going to happen. Because sometimes we're like, Mark's and I'll get to bed and we're like, we've got 6 hours.
Yeah.
So we get up and take it and we're already in bed, you know, and it's probably already midnight. You know, it's just our life has gotten crazy. Maybe it's going to calm down after this wedding's done. I can get on a better schedule like your schedule. Maybe I can get on at 8 or 9 o'clock. It's not even daylight. Is it even dark by 8 or 9 o'clock these days?
Now it's starting to. Yeah, it is starting to now. Yeah, because we noticed last night. We're like, what, 7:30. We were getting ready to do. It was Saturday night. We were getting ready to put the eggs out for the kids, and we're like, oh my goodness, it's like almost dark. We need to get this egg hooked up. So yes, it's starting to get darker earlier.
Okay,
now,
good.
lately.
There we go. Tangent again.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm with you. Sleep is huge. So I do feel like that is. Most people are trying to fix their sleep and their tiredness with caffeine, and that doesn't fix our sleep. We got to go from the inside. Like we're talking about everything else, go from the inside.
Yep.
And the processed food, not a good thing. So we did sleep, baseline.
Yes.
Inflammation is from sleep, food, huge. We talked about that. Processed food, gut health, also does a lot of things with our brain health. So whether we're like mentally healthy, anxiety, depression, all of those things as well.
And that's
fair.
Exactly. And so that's where the working out actually comes in. People don't really know this. So
that's number 3. So
when it's actually pretty awesome. So when you work out, your body actually releases myokines. They're these like little peptide / small proteins, and they actually do a lot of amazing things in the body. But one of the things they do is they actually help with your brain, brain-derived nootropic factor. And it helps just in mood. It helps alleviate things like anxiety and depression. And it's called the hope molecule because it lifts you. It makes you feel better. And it can make such a massive impact in how you feel. And I'm telling you, I can tell the days that I start, like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday are always my workout days. Even when like this morning, I'm not going to lie to you, I woke up and I was like, nah, there's no way I'm working out. Like I just didn't feel it. But got in there. I did it anyway. It wasn't as good of a workout as normal, but afterwards I was like, oh, I feel so much.
It's afterwards, you're always I'm so glad I did that.
Yes, and I think people miss that. People don't, and I think part of it too is that they're already so stressed. They're already so tired. They already don't have the energy. They already, are just exactly that burnout loop. They're just stuck in that loop, and they don't realize that it's like all connected. And that's why you can tackle one, but if you don't tackle all three parts of it,
you're not going
to break out of it.
Slow it down with one, and then slow it down. But then eventually to stop it, it all has to.
Yep. You need to hit the inflammation. You need to hit the sleep. You need to hit the food, and you need to hit the exercise. So I guess really kind of 4 things you need to focus on there to really get that under control.
Yeah.
And
I like to. Now that I've done this health and wellness thing and kind of as my full-time job, it makes me happy to be able to tell people, but I like to dig into, and I know you are too. It's like, okay, tell me what you're eating, tell me what you're doing, when you're exercising, how do you feel, like all the things, because then I can take that information and put it together into like, okay, now I see the problem from like, a higher perspective, like an above the person perspective, because they're in it and they just are just like, I'm miserable, I don't feel good, so I need blah blah blah. And you're like, well, let's look at this like from the inside out, really.
Exactly.
And so a lot of times people, I'm too tired, I can't exercise, and we just talked about, I don't have time, I can't exercise, and I don't do it yet, but I probably at one point will get brave enough to be like, well, let's see how much time you put on your phone. There's a way that you can see how much time you put on your phone.
Or how much time do you spend watching Netflix every evening?
Let me check that phone. Give me, I like the phone police at some point, but I don't want anybody to do it to me, so then maybe I won't do it.
Yeah.
Like judge others. But I do tell them, I say, just go for a walk, if nothing else. So movement is, if that's your baseline, is go for a walk, and that you are going to level off your hormones. Your dopamine and your serotonin are going to get better.
Yeah.
You're going to feel better if you just move your body.
Especially after a meal.
And after a meal. Yeah.
Helps with that glucose spike.
So tell us that. So it's that movement, that increase your metabolism.
Yep.
And so where normally you'd have a glucose spike like you want to go lay down to go to sleep.
Right.
If you just go for a little bit of a walk, 30 minutes max, like it doesn't even.
So with insulin sensitivity. Yep, that's it. I mean, literally, that's it.
And it doesn't have to be a speed walk. It doesn't have to be with a weight vest.
It can just be
a walk.
Yeah.
So basics. Like, if we have to start at the bottom, just go for a walk.
I mean, sometimes if I'm bad and I eat like, I don't know, something bad, insert, terrible dessert, I literally, this is going to sound so silly, but I go into the kitchen, I pull out one of the kitchen chairs, I put my feet on it, and I do as many, I guess it would be like incline? Yeah, I guess incline push-ups as I can do until I just do it to failure. That's my combating my bad food behavior, trying to combat that insulin spike.
That's a good one.
Just some, or I'll do some air, just some squats.
Squats or something.
Exactly.
I thought you were going to tell me you walked around the island a bunch.
No, that's a good idea. I should chase my kids around there.
Chase around kids around.
But yeah, I just always try to do, like, if I eat something like that, I just try to do something to help, because the reality of it is the massive insulin spikes really lead to a lot of things. We could, go into everything, but one of the biggest things is just insulin sensitivity. You start getting, you can start going into type 2 diabetes. People don't always realize this either, but when you have a massive insulin spike, it can cause micro tears in your arteries, in your veins and stuff. And your liver, it's going to dispatch that LDL cholesterol that we're also worried about. Okay, there's 2 different types. There's a light, fluffy, and a small, dense. When you have those tears, it actually dispatches those small dents to those little tears to patch it. And that buildup is what we call plaque buildup.
Okay.
And so you need the light, fluffy LDL for your hormones. So it's better to control those sugars than to try to control cholesterol overall, because then you get issues like hormone imbalances and stuff like that. Yeah. So if you can balance that sugar with a simple walk after dinner, or, some push-ups, air squats or something, it's so much better for your overall health than just relying on a medication.
That's a great point, because we don't all think about it. I didn't even think about it that way.
Yep.
Digging deeper. That's great. That's why we have you here, to dig deeper. Oh, man. So yes, exercising, or it's definitely, like we're talking, not just for looking good. It's for stabilizing all of our internal organs in our brain, our mental, physical, and emotional is what we talk about here.
Yep.
So stop trying to fix the symptoms. We need to look at the behavior and like just change our behaviors could make a huge difference.
100%.
Definitely. And we talked about the inflammation as being the biggest thing. And it's kind of fun because I interviewed our, you made this right, VP of Product and Research and Development, Dr. Alan.
Yes. Love him.
He's so great. And his thing, I've had on that podcast, we talked about it. Then I also talked to him in, where was the last thing? Orlando, yeah. And we were talking about like, what would be the one thing? Like, what's the one product we have that you would say? He's like, whatever's going to decrease inflammation, which he says is, like our GLP-1 and our M3 breakthrough. He's like, our main problem is inflammation. And if we decrease inflammation, get rid of inflammation, we can fix so many other things.
100%.
For him, he's like, that is our core.
Yeah.
And so I know you and I talked about that. And that's kind of where we're getting in all of this is the mental and physical. So, the physical issues we got, we know it's here. We know it's got, like, sleep is a huge one and all the ways we can fix it. But I do feel like we're also kind of like in this mental health crisis. So
very,
I talk to you about that.
Very much so. Yeah. There's a lot of going on there, and I think, again, going back to the inflammation, there's healthy inflammation. We need some form of inflammation to promote healing and to bring nutrients to issues that need help. But when it's chronic and it's nonstop, it just develops into a lot of issues, and when that gut is off and that gut to brain axis is off, your dopamine, your serotonin, a lot of your feel-good chemicals are produced in your gut, so when they're not being produced due to too much inflammation, when the signals aren't being received in full or at all, you get depression, you get anxiety, you get all sorts of issues that really, if you just ate a little bit better and you worked out a little bit, moved your body, you wouldn't even experience. And I can personally tell you just from my experience that, I run my own business and I've grown it pretty substantially in the last year since being on these products. And I attribute that to my anxiety and my personal depression are just so low compared to where they were a year ago, because I'm making better decisions. I'm taking care of my health. I'm putting my health first, in a lot of ways. And I think a lot of people get stuck in that. I need to take care of everybody else first. I need to, my kids are more important. My wife's more important. This is more important. But at the end of the day, you can't show up for people if you don't show up for yourself. And I think that's
your oxygen mask on first.
Exactly.
You're
exactly.
not going to be there to take care of anybody else. So you're not helping anybody by just using that excuse.
Exactly.
But we all do it.
We all do it. And we get stuck in that, just overexhausted, can't show up, stressed. And when you really take the time to start connecting the dots and making the changes, it's pretty amazing how you can pull that anxiety out. You start feeling better about life. You feel better about yourself, and it can make a big impact in your mental health, for sure.
So tell me that story, because it looks like you got a story in there. So I know they asked you before we started about how'd you get involved in Make. That was a good one, too, because I didn't know. So
yeah,
story, and then this other backstory I see happening right here with this anxiety, depression, something.
Yeah, so I guess a little over a year ago, I was just kind of like at like the end of like just so tired of life. I was just like stressed. I was running my own business. I was trying to do this whole other business, the digital marketing that I kind of talked a little bit about, to you guys earlier. Sunk a whole bunch of money into it, and it had finally started, like I had started seeing it start to monetize and start paying off. But I was so stressed and just tired from my job. It's very physical, and I just didn't know where to turn. I had gotten off my ADHD medicine because it was, I was going up and down. I come home in the evenings, and I was just not a nice person. I was short. I was quick to snap. I was, probably raising my voice towards my kids a little more than I liked. I just wasn't the parent that I wanted to be,
for recognizing that.
And, well, it's mostly my wife telling me, hey, listen, buddy.
Good for her for recognizing
Listen,
that.
buddy, something's got to change because, no. Yeah. And, I thank her for that, for stepping up and, making me see it. And so I did. I got off of it, and it was rough. It was rough. Yeah. And that 1 year ago mark was basically me struggling through not taking my medication for like about 1.5 to 2 years of just not having anything. And I was trying mushroom coffees. I was trying different nootropic blends. I was trying supplements, all sorts of stuff. And nothing really worked like the Adderall and Vyvanse did.
Now, was that for just, because I've never taken that, but one of my kids did and he hated it. Was that only for the focus, or do you feel like the anxiety and depression was also involved in that? Is it because when you come down off of those medications?
Oh, for sure.
People would have never taken it.
I mean, I think, you know, I think it's a, you know, the Adderall and Vyvanse, they're both, I mean, they're both pretty much an amphetamine. Right. So they speed your system up and then they come down. And when you come down, you're just like, you feel so drained. You feel so just not good. Yeah, you're irritable. You're cranky. You know, and you rough on yourself. You beat yourself up. Oh gosh, I yelled at my kids, or oh gosh, I was, you know, short with my wife, and you know, I spent a while beating myself up.
You didn't like yourself.
You know, yeah, I didn't. And I'm telling you, when I finally reached out to my friend Christina, you know, who was talking about, you know, peptides, and I said, you know, what do you have for the brain? Because mine doesn't work right.
Like mine.
I don't like me. Help me. She told me, she said, listen, I have a couple. And so she sent them to me, and I'm not going to lie, I looked and I was like, ooh, okay. That was a little bit more than I thought it was going to be, but how much do I want to fix myself? How much does my health matter? How much does my mental health matter?
Yeah.
And quickly what I realized is once I got on them, literally from the first dose, it was like my brain, instead of being all over here, it was like my brain just kind of came together, and like I could control my thoughts. I could focus. I could make a sense of the mess that was up there, you know?
Mess, yeah.
Yeah. And it was crazy to me how much better I felt pretty quickly for me. And it just, as I was on it, the longer I was on it, the more my short-term memory came back, which was really crazy, because you can ask my wife, you could give me the remote to the TV, okay? And like, we'd pause it or something, and like, we would not be able to find the remote. And she's like, well, I gave it to you. I'm like, why? You shouldn't have given me the remote. I can't remember where my keys are. You're going to give me the remote? And so we'd always joke. And now, like, I don't have a problem. I know where my keys are. I know where the remote is. Okay. And I've just had such a, you know, flip in just my brain health. My memory's getting better and better, and I feel better. And I think, again, that switch of, okay, well, now I'm starting to feel mentally better. Now I can start putting in a little bit more effort. And I was already exercising that. So that 1.5 years, 2 years prior to a year ago, I was exercising and getting back, but it was a struggle. Yeah. It was a struggle. It was hard to push myself to do that every day. And once I had the peptides, it was more of like I want to do this. Like, I'm ready for this health transformation. I'm ready to feel good again. And yeah. I mean, even my wife says it, you know, she's like, I see you're more present, you know, at family things. You're more, you know, there. You're not, you know, physically there and mentally off in La La Land, you know. Yeah. And so it's been a really awesome transformation in how I show up as a dad and a husband. And that's really been, you know, my favorite transformation. And it's why I'll, you know, scream these things from the top of the rooftop for the rest of my life. Like, I'm not going anywhere. Like, Make's not going anywhere. I'm ready. I'm here for it. So yeah, it's just
so great is us to be able to tell these stories, because everybody has a piece of something that I was going through, something you went through. You know, we all are humans, and we all have different lives, different situations, but then all again kind of the same. You know, we all struggle with the same struggles. Yeah. You know, not each of us the same one, but there's somebody that we know will have the issue with the focus. Like, I've never been on ADD, but our ADHD, any of those things, medication, I probably needed it, but it just wasn't a thing when I was growing up. My husband definitely needed it. We say that all the time. We're like, oh my gosh, Scout got it, honestly, and they're the same people. And but you just labeled as bad as, you know, boys at that age. Yep. Bad. You know, for me, I was always a note taker, because I feel like now when I look back at it, I had to make sure I wrote it down, because I would have been like, I was a go-getter, you know, type A firstborn, the whole thing, where I wanted to do a lot of stuff. But to do it all, I always had to have a calendar. I had to have a list to do it.
Be structured.
I had to be very structured, and I had to discipline myself. As a girl, I feel like that is a little easier for us. I don't know, it just comes to us easier than boys. Y'all just like slap seat of your pants, you know. we got this.
It's my life.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that's how I combated the little bit of like that brain issue.
100%.
Bouncing like the ping ball, all over the place. And I still feel like it to this day. If I don't take the focus, I do feel like I can get to where I'm like that. Like I'll start one project, and then before I finish this one, I'm starting something else.
Yep.
And I'm like, no, where's my focus, Bill? Let me take one of those so I can make sure I stay on task. I just want to stay on task, finish that, because it feels so good when you just finish a task, and then you're like,
it does.
Shut that one off. Let's move on to the next one.
And it's funny you say that, because that's actually one of the main reasons I like working out in the morning, because it's like when you do that, yes, it's that first check. It's that first check. It's like, all right, I that was one of the goals for my day. I checked it off. I'm done. And it believe it or not, that plays some dopamine roles. That plays some roles in that good brain chemical.
Yep.
And so I tell people, like, not only because of the myokines, like we talked earlier, but like because you're like, I completed something. Yes, it's just good brain health.
I did that. I can do the rest of my day.
Yes.
And which we all need. We all have to have our own little like internal cheerleaders of, we completed that.
Yeah.
Good. And now let's eat better. Now, all the things. But if you wake up groggy and funky, like I used to without my Restored, and then you're like, oh, let me go have, a donut. And then you just, that goes to the nap.
Donuts.
Which donuts are
good, but they're so bad for you.
We can find a way to make that without high fructose corn syrup and a whole bunch of stuff. We could be doing. Somebody's bound to have it out there. We just haven't found it yet.
Exactly.
Oh, gosh. Speaking of our tangents, even with our focus, this is so good. We get on all the tangents. You asked me a question, and so I did put it down here about oral health. We had talked about that at an event the other day. And it's big. That's kind of what got me into doing peptides. I was a dentist. I did a lot of sleep stuff as a dentist because I could see that. And when people would lay back and they couldn't breathe, and they would be like, I can't breathe, it's the water, and there's no water there. I'm like, no, we're suctioning the water out. Like, I can see it, but they don't understand it, and it's hard for me to explain that to people. So I started doing tests for them to see if they had sleep apnea. I would do it, they would take it home with them. I would do a home test for sleep apnea. We would give them an appliance to forward their jaw so they could get the air in, instead of using a CPAP where you're just forcing it into a spot where it's still all closed up because everything's still falling back. But a lot of people were heavy. A lot of people. I mean, there's a small percentage of people who don't have a weight issue that have that issue. Small percentage.
Do you think it has to do with the muscles? And okay, so it is anatomy. It's some
anatomy at some point. It's the way you sit. So if you sit like this a lot, if you're on the computer a lot, it actually forward postures this. It closes off something. There's a bone in there that kind of starts to close some stuff off. So we do it to ourselves depending on what our job is, and if we don't work out and have the muscles that we need, then yes, it does affect that. A lot of it is just having a large tongue, which we didn't. That's not, you can eat all you want or not eat. You're still gonna have the size tongue that God gave you, And man, there's a lot of them I wanted to cut off lots of times. I was working on them. I'm like, can we get rid of this tongue and these cheeks? It's a hard job looking at something this big when you got all these other things in there,
Yeah.
But those things, I was like, gosh, this is a big thing for people. And when they don't have the oxygen, I could see the medication that they were on when they weren't sleeping right. I could just see. I could see I could see the cycle.
Yeah.
And so when I found peptides, I was like, wow, like if we can decrease inflammation, we could decrease inflammation here. We can decrease inflammation in their jaw.
Ooh, that would probably make an impact in that, huh?
Yeah,
if you could pull that inflammation. Oh, okay, yeah.
You tell people when they decrease inflammation, it's like all this goes down.
Well, we have posts all the time where you can just look at their face and you can see it. And so I guess why wouldn't that make sense? If you pull the inflammation out, it wouldn't be compressing and like, okay.
Yeah, it does.
That makes sense.
Good. So that was how, but at the time I didn't. By the time I started synthetic peptides and started talking to people, Mate came into my life. God was good. He was like, try these too, because these are not, they're not sustainable. They're doable. They're really good. When somebody really needs it, if somebody really needs to lose a lot of weight, a GLP-1 is great. Now, it has to be paired. I'm like, it has to be paired with a fit and a hydrate.
It makes such a difference.
Such a difference. But, and you can microdose. There's a lot of ways you can use both of these peptides. Peptides are great, I think, going to be the new age of medicine. I'm hoping.
It is.
Change the trajectory.
I'm guaranteeing you it is the future of health and wellness. I can see the trends. I'm watching the supplement industry as it's rising and going. And when you look at supplements compared to peptides, supplements, I always say this, it's just a raw nutrient. Yeah, your body can use it. Yeah, your body knows what to do with it, but it doesn't always go where you want it to go.
Right.
It could go to something else that maybe needs it more.
Probably should pee it out.
or that. With peptides, not only do you get that nutrient, because we, in all of our peptides, we provide the nutrients that are required for the signals we're sending. And I think that's a big thing that some of the synthetics need to figure out, because if you could supplement all the processes that start when you take a GLP-1, I think the outcomes would be much different. Yeah. And that's where we came in with the Fit, because the Fit helps keep that muscle around, helps, keep that inflammation down, and just it really supports, especially with its ability to inhibit myostatin and stop that muscle break. It really helps keep that metabolism firing and growing on those GLP-1s. And it's just, it's pretty amazing.
I think so. And the hair loss. I mean, so there's really the two big things that people fuss about with the GLP-1 is muscle loss and hair loss.
Okay.
And the Fit combats both of those.
I didn't know the hair loss thing.
Yeah. So my hairdresser fusses about it. A lot of people fuss about it. It's a woman thing. Y'all don't really care if you lose your hair or not.
Why do you think I have a hat on? What are you talking about? Should we show the audience?
Yeah. Is there a bald spot? Oh, okay. I didn't never know.
That's why the hats stay on.
The hats stay on. It looks great on you. So you have a lot of hair here, so I would have never.
I do. Well, I do that on purpose. Okay.
Yeah, makes it.
At least I can prove I can grow hair somewhere.
You can grow hair. You got this. You got the hair on your legs. You're good. But if you took a GLP-1, you would notice.
That'd be a problem.
Yeah, so you would notice even more the hair loss. So that and Dr. Allen talked about kind of a little bit of why I think he did, or even Justin Prince did. But the basis of me doing Make with that was for that exact reason. Like, even if I gave you this peptide, this goes with it, and I did the whole deep dive study, and you did some deep dive studying, but I did deep dive study on, if I want them to have this result, and this synthetic peptide can work with this, can I just give them that? And even on the studies, even on the education I did to get certified in peptides, synthetic peptides, it would always give you a list. If you're giving them this, give them these, magnesium, creatine, give them these things. So I was like, well, wait, these are in my Make products, and it has a peptide in it, you just said. Yeah. Why would I not just take all of this good stuff, even if I'm giving them this, and add it together? 100%. Oh, no, and they have to get off of this. This is standing.
Exactly.
This is the strength underneath. This is the foundation, where if I need to send a synthetic in there to do some quick job, because you're really hurting, you have a tennis elbow, a hurt shoulder, knee, wrist, whatever, throw in the synthetics. They're good for something. I just hope that when you say for sure that this is trajectory, I'm so skeptical when it comes to insurance and big pharma and big insurance, because I've lived it, and they just try to run the world. I'll probably get shut down saying it, but I've lived it. It's awful. And it's awful how the patients,
I'm glad
speaking of a tangent, the patients,
I could go off on this one all day with you.
I know. Maybe this is going to be cut, another podcast.
Yeah.
I've seen so many people walk in and they're like, well, does my insurance cover it? Like, their sleep stuff. Does my insurance cover it? I'm like, you're not breathing. You are getting zero oxygen at night. How do you think God made us to live on oxygen? You need oxygen and water. And it's like, but does my insurance cover it? I mean, people are just so programmed that the insurance knows best. Who the heck in some 20-story building making $gazillion knows better for you than you? And somebody who cares about you. And maybe you don't trust me, or maybe you don't trust the person in your doctor. But you obviously trust the doctors, who unfortunately do the best that they can do with what they've got and the knowledge they got in medical school. But who supports the medical school is big pharma. So it's kind of like, if you really look down deep, where the foundation of this whole medical situation has gone to and has gotten to, I think back in the day when somebody just took their little bag and they went to your house and they tried to fix you, they literally wanted to fix you.
Yeah.
And I do think, like doctors, we become doctors and we become healthcare professionals because we do want to help people.
100%.
But we only have the tools we have.
And you only have the information that you have in front of you.
Yes.
And a lot of the problems that I see, especially in the medical industry, is that there's so much paperwork and there's so much stuff, that red tape that has to go on, that a lot of doctors, they don't have the time for further education. Now, a lot of them try to fit some in here and there, but they don't have the time to really learn about the new stuff that's coming out. And to kind of segue this a tiny bit, supposedly, I always get that word wrong, RFK is trying to push, I think it's like 14 different peptides, to legalize them, to change their schedule so that they can be prescribed and they can be used a little bit more, widely in clinics and stuff like that, to actually help that. Because really, at the end of the day, being able to signal your cells to do what we want them to do is much more than some of what these pharmaceutical drugs are doing in our bodies.
It's like the whole podcast is all kind of evolved into. It's being proactive instead of reactive, giving people options to use proactive medications, which not even medications, but proactive options to make yourself healthy, longevity, your mind, body, and soul, over reactive medicine. Let me wait till I'm sick and let me take a pill that somebody made in a pharmacy that God only knows what's in it, you know. And it's all for good. You need pharmacies. My dad's a pharmacist. You need pharmacies. You need medication.
Exactly.
At a time, there's a time and a place. But I would like to not need a whole lot of medication, you know, as I get older and I live to 100.
100%. And I tell people all the time, I say, listen, you have two options, and these are your only two options. You can either invest in your health now, or you can ignore it and you can pay for it later. That's it. Those are your options, because you can have all the money in the world, and if you don't take care of your health, when you start getting all these health issues in your 60s, 70s, and 80s, and sometimes it's too late. So I tell people, like, exactly. So just, you know, make the effort now, change a couple of those habits, you know, supplement your body where it's deficient. You know, we all have different gene mutations that cause our bodies to, you know, maybe process vitamins different, or, you know, I know MTHFR is one that a lot of people have, and they can't methylate, you know, the B vitamins properly. And so they take methylated B vitamins. That helps with so many processes throughout the body. So if people learn to take the time to learn their body and
themselves,
exactly, and really give their body what it needs, because everyone's body is different, you can really prevent a lot of sickness and ailments if you put the effort in and take the time to learn.
And we've got, I think, a lot of us that are in the peptides, you know, spectrum, a lot of us that are kind of even more on the natural, holistic side. Some of the synthetic people, I kind of feel like they're doing some of the same things, but we want to dive into each person, you know, like, I don't know how scalable that is, but that's the whole point, right? It's like, we're here to help people. And so it's like when somebody comes to me with, I want to lose weight, like I talked about earlier, I don't just go, here's a Make 3 breakthrough, or, you know, here's this lean peptide or fit. Yes, they're all great. I take them all. I love them all. But not everyone is going to do what that person wants. Like, what is your pain point? What is your problem? I'm going to focus on shut first. And let's get you feeling good.
It's about that conversation.
Which is all going to be inflammation too. You know, like, it all rolls back to inflammation. But let me figure out. Let me still look. I know that's one pillar. We got to fix that one. But then where's the other problems coming from?
Right.
And, you know, it's just this beautiful game. And I don't know if it's just a blessing that God's given me and that I'm just going to use it now while it's here to be able to help as many people as possible. But I know you're the same way, like digging into like all these issues that if we can fix these certain things, we can make people better. And I do. Now you said about RFK, I kind of forget that because I don't watch the news anymore. Since COVID.
I don't watch the news either. I'm very much a independent journalist. I follow some independent journalists.
I just say, let me know. I need to know, like, when's the war? What's a bunker? Do we need to get some guns? Like, such a girl thing to say. That's not probably a very educated thing to say. But I do not follow it as much as I should, although I do have a friend who was on the podcast with me, and she's good friends with the Surgeon General. And so they're trying to pass some stuff, too, that's very holistic. So she's on board with this too. Awesome. Like, she knows that we've got to change the trajectory of medicine. Or we're just killing people. And they're not. And unfortunately, they don't know how to fix themselves. And so we need to be the advocate for everybody that we can. And like I always say it too, and you said it, screaming from the rooftops, like, I'm going to get up here with a megaphone. I'm going to scream it till you finally hear me, that there are things you can do without taking a prescription medication. But, you know, their prescriptions are free. And make is not. And so we hear that, and I'm with you, though.
It's crazy.
Pay for it now, pay for it later.
You want to hear something crazy? You know, every 34 seconds, somebody dies of cardiovascular disease.
34 seconds?
34 seconds.
Wow.
So it's one of the biggest. It's
half of a minute.
It's the biggest issue of death in our
2 a minute. 2 people.
One in 3 people have cardiovascular disease,
and that's all just inflammation.
A lot of it, You know, some of inflammation and food.
And foods. Which is inflammation.
Which is why we talk about what we're talking about. You know, the whole you know, exercise, food, and all that. It's something I find we're actually combating. We're helping turn that corner in the number one cause of death in the United States. And I think it's something that I love about what we do and the products we share. And I just think that once people understand how it all comes together, they can start making the making the changes.
Yeah, making the decision for themselves to become better, whether you want to or not. That's kind of, I'm just screaming from the rooftop. I'm going to let you know what it is.
Yep.
I'm going to tell you as much as I can. I'm here to answer questions. I know you are too. You're such a,
Always.
look, you're like, I'm on every platform and just reach out to me. You're so good about that too.
Well, thank you.
Because you are very educated in it, because you've done a lot of studying in it, so you know. And so I feel like if people do have questions, we'll put your stuff in the comments on the, however that happens, at the bottom of the podcast.
Okay.
They'll be able to get in touch with you. Because, yeah, the whole point is just to help people be healthy.
Exactly.
You know?
And I've seen such a massive transformation in my health in the last 2 to 3 years of just really diving all this and issues that I know so many people that I know are fighting. And so it's like, if I can help some of these people break out of this, and that's what I'm here for.
I know.
So,
I think so too. You know, God gives us a journey that we're on, and it wasn't what we probably thought we would be on at a certain point. Like, we didn't even know make existed whenever our lives were doing little dips and dives. But, you know, God's got us here as a vessel and the mouth to tell people about it. So that's kind of where we are.
Yes.
And I do feel like we did a good job today of covering it on a very quick little topic. So we did sleep. Yeah. So sleep is going to be our foundation for sure. So let's get some sleep. If you can't get sleep, let us know. We can fix that with one of the peptides and some other things too that we could always advise, which is inflammation. So then that goes to our nutrition and trying to find those lists, do some digging, ask ChatGPT. I mean, just what are the things that I shouldn't be eating? Inflammation. That's an easy thing.
Sugar.
They'll give it to you.
If you want to have the biggest impact in your overall health and wellness, added sugar, processed sugar that I tell people that one thing can absolutely change your entire life.
Make a huge difference.
Yes.
Okay, that's a big one for people because sugar's in a lot of stuff. Sugar and carbs are in a lot of stuff. So we did that one. We did food, nutrition. So we said sleep, sugar, and then movement. Make sure you at least go for a walk.
Yep.
If not a walk, then do your push-ups and some squats. Do something after you eat a big meal. Move your body. And then I do too think resistance training. It's going to be great because that sarcopenia is a whole thing, like losing.
Such an issue.
I feel better, look better, all the things at 53 than I ever did. And I did more weights than doing the run in the triathlon, the let's run from a tiger, Aimee kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's, of course, because my son's a personal trainer, and he's great at it. But I think that I've seen a huge difference, and that's it. And it's the mitochondrions. It's the gaining the muscle that's going to be the basis of our body functioning better and trying to work through that inflammation as well. Like whatever we do accidentally put in there, or we have the cake that day at a wedding, then, you know, we can kind of get rid of some of it. Our body can get rid of it easier than when we do it every day with no sleep, no nutrition, no things like that.
Yes, exactly.
Anything else that we missed that we didn't cover?
I think we covered the bases today.
I think we hit them. Yeah. Yes, you did awesome. I appreciate
you. Did too. Thank you so much.
Like there was still some stuff in there we probably could have covered too. Like I'll have to have you back on here so that we can we'll take a whole nother subject and do a whole nother deep dive in something in peptides. Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
It's been a blast.
Thanks.